Today, we're thrilled to welcome Rick Beal and Magen Smith, co-founders of Atomic Storage Group. Atomic Storage Group has rapidly grown since its founding in 2019, now managing a portfolio of over 90 facilities across 20 states with more than 2.7 million rentable square feet. Rick and Magen bring incredible expertise to the table, with Rick's background as a Class A self-storage facility owner and Magen's experience as a CPA and developer specializing in conversions and ground-up projects. Together, they built a company that's redefining third-party management by offering a range of innovative services from manned to hybrid to unmanned operations. In this episode, we'll dive into their professional journeys, explore how they think about scaling operations and competing with REITs, and uncover the insights on technology adoption, the rise of hybrid management, and underexplored opportunities in the self-storage space. Let's get started. Rick, I've seen you a lot, different shows. Welcome. And Magen, I've seen you speak, but I don't know, have we officially met? I don't know if we shook hands.
Yes, you don't remember? It was so meaningful. I'm
But
I've seen you podcast for a first one.
yeah.
I don't actually think we met.
Okay, good. It's fine. You can make me feel bad. That's fine.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have both of you guys here. Excited to get to pick y'all's brains just a little bit.
Yeah, just to start off, I'm really curious. Just like I said, I've seen you guys grow significantly over the last few years. Start off with how you guys started the company. What's the origin story, and what's the vision behind Atomic?
Go ahead, Magen. You tell the better story.
So I was managing a couple of properties that I owned. So I was doing some syndications and had some ownership in properties and was managing one. And then the partners had the other one that they wanted me to manage. And it was just that I was doing a lot of accounting and auditing at that time and did not like managing at all. They had a raccoon got trapped in a building and I had to go deal with it. And I was sitting on the curb in Lake Charles, Louisiana, after chasing a raccoon for a weekend, thinking, what did I just do with my life and why am I here and how did I get to this point? And it was a pretty dark day. So I was going to give up management, interviewed a bunch of companies, had equity, and we had taken equity from people, our investors. So I didn't want to just walk away and quit. So I knew Rick from speaking and traveling. We had met in Vegas. We were friends over the years. And he's a lot more into the marketing and the people and all those things that I am. And I was like, hey, do you want to start a company with me? And he was like, yeah. And then he quit his job. And I'm like, wait, I can't pay you anything. He's like, it's cool. Like, I don't think you understand. So that's kind of how it started. We were going to name it Anaconda, but that didn't make sense. So we picked Atomic and we got one store. We had, 2 stores at the beginning and we took road trips and ate Little Caesars pizza and Taco Bell parking lots and traveled all around and just kind of.
Also, by the way, we were never going to name it that ever. Rick
didn't get a vote.
Not a thing at all. We were not going to name it Anaconda. That would always want me to start to sing Sir Mix-a-Lot, and that's
exactly what came to mind.
Don't want none, son.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing I would start to sing whenever that. I mean, it would make for great graphics, but other than that, it's the worst name in the world.
I mean, raccoon had to have been on the whiteboard somewhere. Raccoon story.
It's just. It was a lot. So that's why we started Atomic. We own, Rick and I both own properties. We kind of did a lot of managing because we owned them and everything we do in Atomic is from that side of things. So we were owners first. I did auditing and accounting and everything that we've set up is for the owner's benefit, sometimes to our detriment. We like to tell people we work hard, not smart, but we really try to benefit our customers. And it's been a lot of growth since then, all word of mouth.
That's awesome. I don't feel like from an operator side or even third party manager side, you truly have that startup ethos, that startup origin story. And so we appreciate it. I know between Rodolfo and Kyle and myself, we can empathize around naming problems and all the different things that are going on there. Just connecting with people that complement your skill sets and everything.
I remember our first contract that was out of our normal thing was in upstate New York, right? And I'm living in Utah at the time. And he's like, do you have a presence up here? I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely we do. It's a 6-hour plane ride for me to get up there, but we absolutely have a presence up there. We will be up there all the time. And we still have that client today. And we now actually legitimately have a presence in upstate New York and not just him.
That's amazing. I have a mentor advisor that we meet with pretty regularly, and he says, whenever we're launching new features or product or very early stages of business, you've got to get your dirty dozen. And this exercise, he's like, by hook or by crook, you've got to go and find your first 12 paying customers. And, even if that's stretching the truth around your presence in a region, just to make somebody feel like that you're a little bit bigger than you are, which is awesome.
Yep, our first one was New York, and our second was Nampa, Idaho. So we started hard from the beginning.
Yeah, not smart.
Probably a couple of airline miles somewhere on a credit card or a rewards system there for that too. Yeah. Let's jump in just a little bit. We like to say that we nerd out in general. I'm curious, like, you guys have grown the portfolio, obviously engaged in a lot of technology to work smarter, not harder. Like, what trends, like in the remote virtually managed facilities, are you guys thinking about as 2024 is coming to a close and 2025 is, just around the corner?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take that one if that's okay. I see a lot of things in self-storage, and you guys, I think, are a front runner for a lot of this, but self-storage is kind of technology is caught in a rut, only because of the large of, our operating systems and stuff are kind of closed and a little bit behind and a little bit backwards sometimes. Um, so it's good to have you guys on there pushing things, and pushing the envelope a little bit. So we kind of like to do the same things, find things that are outside of the industry and see how we can plug those into our operations. Um, Great example for that is our internal call center. We have an internal call center. We don't use call center software that is self-storage based. We use call center software. It's been okay for a while, but now as advancements have come in place with AI, just better stuff, we're upgrading that. So we get instantaneous scores for agents. We get feedback based on calls. If they're positive, negative, they can flag our call center director. All live AI transcripts that can pop up that we can populate and put notes. So just a lot of really cool things that we can see from other places and bring them in, and just to make our operations so much better. I think that's a huge thing to honestly look outside of self-storage and see what is out there that you can bring into your operations.
That's awesome. We love that. I'm curious, like, if there are specific companies that you guys typically go to go, like, how is Starbucks doing X, or industries that you guys like to try to pull trends from in general, just to kind of, that's something that we always talk about is, like, what's e-commerce do today for abandoned carts and that we're not doing here in storage. I'm just kind of curious where you guys find inspiration on a day-to-day.
Yeah, all the time. Every time
Yes.
we travel, every time we do anything, we're always looking. I had to get new tires on my car, right? And they had like a great drop key process and then pick up key process. And I'm like, that was super easy. And then we talk about the process, and Rick and I are just kind of think that way. So anytime we go anywhere all the time, it's like, was that good? Was that bad? What was the break points? How was the experience? What did I enjoy? What did I not enjoy? What's the back end like? And just kind of dissect that, everything from QR codes and technology and websites to, actual things at the store, whether we need technology or not. Do we just keep it dumb and easy to use every time, or do we implement technology to make it smoother?
Yeah, I remember one time at a show, I had to do an early checkout, and there was a big sign because no one was at the desk, and it was just an early move out. And you had to just text your name and your room number to a number, and it went through. I'm like, that's a really good idea. So then we reverse engineer, try to figure out how to do move out texts, so we can put move out text numbers around all of our remotely managed stores that went to our call centers. So you can email that stuff, but text is always a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to steal a little playbook from you guys. So when you guys send us the onboarding for your program in Coda, I'm like, this is freaking sweet. So I then took a weekend and spent like 12 hours watching like freaking football on one screen, and just like
That's awesome.
I got an account and just like went through and like just went to town on all of our SOPs and operations and stuff like that, because I just dove more and more into that stuff. So yeah, just taking stuff from people who've done it before, and you know, I love bulletproof stuff that works every single time, and that is awesome.
That's
Shout
awesome.
out to the customer success onboarding team. That's awesome.
I was about to say same thing, and don't get me started on Coda. I have a love affair with Coda. And at the very early stages of Swivel, like we were using Coda as a database for certain like areas of our product. We've obviously migrated away from that, and like the Coda account management teams, like they like personally emailed us and were like, what the heck are you guys doing, because your file sizes are the largest that we've ever seen. So I've used Coda to hack so many things together, so I love that platform in general.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I am super excited about it. And we've already started to roll out new products just based on that. So and that was just over the weekend. So super excited to see what we can do the next little bit on it. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it.
Shout out to Coda. We'll definitely add that to the show notes as well.
Let's make sure it's not the last time you steal a little bit from us, Rick. We've got more personally later on too. To kind of like jump into stuff, like I really love to get in, like we've talked about where inspiration comes, but there's like so many problems that operators face on a day to day. I'm curious, like from a big picture perspective, like how do you guys think about like which problems are worth solving? Which ones are going to have the biggest impact on your business today, tomorrow, 10 years from now?
It's a good question. So Rick is really, really, really good at thinking about down the path. So he's always like 8 steps ahead of me, and like making up stuff that is not urgent today, but makes it better later that I don't even see. And then I'm kind of keeping everything together every day, right? I'm like, invoices have to be sent out. Like that's important. We need money in the bank. Like I'm like the day to day of it all, but he's really good at kind of looking forward. And I think it's hard sometimes because the most important thing to do today is not, it's what got you here won't get you there, right? So you have to kind of balance that, let other people solve the little daily problems. And then we kind of get the big nasty problems at this point because we have, I don't know, 8 district managers and 145 stores under management, and 25 people on our corporate side. So we don't even hear about a lot of the little stuff anymore. We hear about the big things. So it seems like it's just problems sometimes, because that's kind of what we get, which, you could really kind of get hard on yourself and your company of like, do we do anything right? But you forget all the things that got solved without you. Like we made a goal a year ago to get 90% of operations off of us. And we look up and we're like, we're getting there, like things are getting better. So, yeah, Rick, I don't know if you want to kind of talk through what you're looking at. You're always looking.
Yeah, I think, as any organization grows, there's just different timelines for different stuff, right? So like in our infancy, I mean, everything was a priority, right? I mean, it was like rentals, marketing, and it was us. So, it was everything. But as you start to grow, I personally have had the difficulty separating myself from being like more hands-on, like, something happens wherever, I want to freaking hop on a plane, roll up my sleeves and go get stuff done. Well, there's 18 other people who can do that probably better than me, that I don't need to be down there, even though as much as I want to be there, I don't need to be there. So then you kind of start to decide where your role's at and what your value is. Can you make $10 decisions, $100 decisions, $1,000 decisions, $10,000 decisions? So what are those decisions that you can make right now that is going to, number one, change your revenue structure and get more work off of yourself? So if you're looking at your day and you see all these things that you have, and there's, they're being taken care of by $10 decisions, well, that's part of the issue. So just kind of prioritizing and triaging the things that need to be done.
We just started our team hates us right now. They're all really mad at us. So we were making them fill out. We're making them fill out 15-minute timesheets this week and next week of what they're doing. So I am a CPA, right? So I have a background in accounting. That was normal for me. Like that's how you bill time. So we introduced it about a year ago and did it again. We're a virtual company, so we have people we've not even met. We're not ever in the same place. We have no idea what people are doing sometimes. So every 15 minutes they have to put what they're doing. But the intention, we've done it before, is to see where there's duplicate work, missing work. People are doing busy work, well intentioned, but not the right important thing to move us forward. So sometimes you just have to kind of pull open and get that transparency in a really annoying way. And then you can see what's happening. And then that's going to give us a full context of like, where are the bottlenecks, where are the hiccups, where are the gaps, so then we can make the next piece to get us to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, there's so much to unpack in just like the last like 45 seconds in general. I think to hit on something, I think, from the days that you guys started the company, as long as I always talk to Rodolfo, Kyle, and another one of our co-founders, Chuck, it's like, if our problems are changing and we're able to delegate the problems or solve the old problems, then like we're doing something right. That's like the point of progress, right? Is that the problem? You're always going to have problems to solve as long as they're like iterating and changing. And hopefully you're not solving, I love the framework, Rick, around like $10 problems. Hopefully you're starting to solve higher value problems more often than not. And then, the people on the front lines do it. But it sounds like you guys are like super hands-on. Rick jumping on planes to go, fix a gate code or fix a gate that's broken down in general. Where do you guys like balance? Is running a self-storage facility like more art or science, a little bit of both in between? Like, how do you guys?
It's more witchcraft than anything, I think.
Stir the pot.
Yeah, sacrificing goats and
raccoons, Rick. Raccoons
and anacondas. That's the sacrificial animal. It is a good mix of everything. A lot of times, that's the nice thing about self-storage. It's, you can get as technical as you want to, and you don't need to be as well. So as self-storage is getting better and more sophisticated, it's just an opportunity to jump up your game. But yeah, a lot of it does have to do with that. You can look at revenue management. That's a great example. You can look at algorithms all day long, and you can look at other things all day long. At the end of the day, our best guess is data that we get, and then information from the store manager. It is a couple pronged approach to look at these things, and you just can't be ran totally on one sentiment. So you do need to kind of have that mix between data, a little bit of gut, and that's kind of how we look at stuff.
That's awesome. I want to double tap on Megan, just like the virtual remote. I mean, you guys have employees you've never met. We've brought on new team members that I've never met in person recently too. Like, how do you guys think about that? Like, as you're growing your business, like the culture, the standards you're setting for an atomic property. Like, let's dig into like what's different if everybody was in person for you guys.
So a lot of what we found is like when you're in person, you just hear people saying conversations that you can catch and redirect, and you bump into somebody's office and there's water cooler conversations, right? And that just makes things smoother and faster and more productive. Rick actually moved. So I moved to Chattanooga, and then Rick moved here. So him and I can be in the office because we needed to be together to grow and continue to move the company forward. And that's been super helpful for us. Part of what we have a VP of ops now. So his job is to kind of keep all the departments interconnected moving forward. As much as Rick would love to go fix a gate, he doesn't get to do that anymore. He has other high priority things to do. But so we have people that have our DNA. We, bring them to Chattanooga for a retreat once a year. We talk with them on Zoom. We have check-ins on the regular. So we're interacting a lot with them and kind of setting our standards. And then we let them bring that DNA to the next people, the next people, the next people, the next people. We're going to set up a company-wide meeting, multiple company-wide meetings, talk about our vision for next year, where we want to go, let everybody know this is kind of the path that we're leading. And a lot of it's communication and over communication and continued communication, which I hate. It's so tiring. Rick thankfully loves it. So it's just that it's talking about our vision over and over and over and over, and giving people the room to make the decisions and execute, but giving them the goal of where we need to get to. So, this is the outcome. You guys can pick your path, but here's where we need to be in by this date, and it needs to look like this. And then trusting that they'll get there. And we really try to hire people that have the attitude they get to do it. They don't have to do it. So our accountants get to reconcile. They're so excited. Our marketing people get to make a content calendar. They can't wait. our DEMs, they get to solve the problems at the property. They don't have to do them. They get to. They're so excited. So we look for that attitude when we hire people, when Rick hires people, that they can't wait to do their jobs. They love it so much.
I love
That's
to hear
awesome.
that. I mean, I love to hear like SOPs come to mind. And I think we love that we build the company on SOPs and we're always building more. So it seems like you guys have excellent operational efficiencies. But I'm curious, like you talked a lot about your team and how you're building that vision. How do you also juggle your clients and their goals, and how do you make sure that everyone's aligned with where you guys are going?
You want to take that, Rick?
No, go ahead, because I probably say something very wrong. So I'll let you say it.
An important skill set is knowing when not to answer a question.
I just
too,
say it
right?
and put it on mute so I can say something. Yeah, go ahead, Megan. We can talk about that.
It is difficult. So we have a variety of clients who are very happy to let us manage and trust us. And we got a call. Somebody, they showed appreciation in a very nice way. And we have that scale of things, and we have the opposite, that you're never there. It's never enough. Management is never done. So there's a lot in between. After COVID, we have had a lot of people who are in as the industry. You bought things, you paid different types, you have different loan products that we're having to watch cash and manage them. So we do try to give some room because there's some service level to it, right? It is kind of a personal service. They pick us for the extra mile that we go, but then we also have to sort of keep the processes the same because we can't have a nuance for every single client. So as we started building our company, Rick and I are probably overly accommodating, and it was just us. So we could just do whatever we wanted and like wing it, because we kind of knew as we've scaled and grown, people can't remember this property's this way and that property's that way and this one's this way. And so thankfully we have people who really, really like to streamline things, because I hate it. I'm just like, oh, I feel like this, like that works, let's do it. But they hate that. So our team has really put into place, and now we kind of have it a little bit more streamlined, but we can still give some gray, if people need something a little bit special. But we do try to streamline it. And I think we run a very good property just with our standards, right? So what works in one place should you can apply it across the board. We have manned and unmanned. We have different sort of portfolios. So there's some color to it, but
And
yeah,
that's hard. It's tough to have those conversations with people. I mean, both Meg and I have owned, built, taken investors' money, sat across, have not had a successful project. 2 weeks into it, there's not a single rental of a $16 million building. Do I need to go get a sign to flip? So we get stuff that other people don't. And we've tried everything. Gosh, we've talked about stuff. We tried everything. We've done everything. So, when people come up to us and say, hey, can we do X, Y, Z? There's sometimes we say, yeah, we can do it. We know it's not going to work because we've done it 18,000 times, but we're happy to oblige because we also understand that it's their investment and they're really super important about that. So I want to make them feel like they're part of the operation a little bit. And then it doesn't work, and then I don't tell them I told you so, and we kind of keep going.
Tell them they owe you a Christmas gift, though, right?
That's right.
I've got kind of one more like decision-making process question, then maybe we'll get into some more tactical, like nerding out about some of the tech you guys are using in general. But, we talked about like SOPs, we're talking about building your team. I'm curious, like if you guys have like a North Star metric, like one metric to evaluate the success of like how well a facility is doing, like what is that? And like, why did you guys choose that?
That's hard. So I, at the end of the day, come back to, did more money go into my bank account than previous month and previous year? And if we're making more money, everything boils down to that, right? So if I'm gonna pick one number, that's my number. I can fill up a property, I can get occupancy, I can look at discounts, I can pull a page of KPIs. At the end of the day, cash is king, and that's what pays the bills. And that's
Are you making money? Is it profitable?
Are you making money? And is it going in your bank, or are we giving it away? Yeah. So that's always my number that I look at.
Which is funny because it's not always the agreed upon one with some of our clients. Cash is rising, but occupancy may be stagnant, remaining the same, going down in some places, but cash is rising. Where they're more focused on that number versus rising revenue. So it's very interesting. And then you have education, and then that is still the focused number. So yeah, it's fun to have those conversations with.
That's awesome.
My big one is like more of a personal thing. If I cringe whenever your caller ID pops up, that we are not your client. Like that is it. I want to talk with you. If you call and I'm like, oh my gosh, we are not going to have a good relationship. We're really relationship based, and that's my huge thing right there. I
Personal,
want
yeah.
to talk with you.
I was
That's
going to say,
awesome.
if I ever get to the point I don't want to get out of bed and come to work, that's an issue, right? Like we want to enjoy what we do every day with the people we do it with.
Some days.
And continue on that. So there's flavors of that, but that's our, as far as personal goals go, we should be enjoying what we're creating.
Totally living the dream here, building a business, and getting to impact people in one way or another. I mean, I think at the end of the day, even though the product is simple, self-storage impacts day-to-day lives of so many people. And that's an exciting thing to do. Not only the people that work for you guys, but obviously the customers that are storing.
Yeah, customers, our clients, they're investors, their reputation. I mean, it's there's a lot that's touched just with the decisions that we make regarding very small things that really ripple out.
It's like a Hallmark card.
Yeah. There's so many
Christmas,
good
man.
quotes already. There's so many good quotes in this episode already. I want to get into some of like the tech and innovation you guys are seeing and using. But before we even do that, I'm curious. Like we've already kind of touched on it a little bit. This trade off between tech-driven automation, the human touch, customer service. You guys have a mix of unmanned and manned facilities in your portfolio. Like, where's that balance of efficiency with personalization? Like today, how do you guys think about that?
That's a good question. So, I think number one is just feasibility, right? So, smaller sites, we need to do whatever we can to make those things justified. I always like to look at things in more of a way of what makes sense for the store. So every single store we open up, even if it's a manned site, we set it up so it can be remotely ran sometime. Now, if that ever happens, awesome. If it doesn't, if it stays manned, that's cool too. But we always want to have a foresight of 18 months down the road, 5 years down the road. If we ever want to flip that switch, we totally can, because we started that from the get-go. So I think just leaving options open and setting your operations up where it's easy to turn the ship and it's not a huge giant lift to do so is where you really want to go. I don't want to have to change out signs. I don't want to have a huge operational lift if that ever changes. And that's key, because that's a lot of hard work and it makes you not want to do it. So if you're down the road, 2 years down, your revenue is pretty high. You kind of get to a point when you only get so much out of self-storage, right? There's kind of a point where you're kind of at that place. Well, where can you cut back on expenses? And if you're at that point, and that's the time you're having conversations about, cutting back staffing or remotely run or adding the technology. Maybe that's not the best time, but if you start from the get-go, it's going to be very easy, smooth transition.
No, that's awesome. I always like to, internally, obviously we build an automation tool, and the whole platform is human in the loop, because since day zero, I think we've always just believed that, you want to have the ability for the human touch point, that moment of surprise and delight, or even if you just wanted to do it, if that's there. But, when you can start to be more capital efficient and do more with less. And, we talked about how much you guys are enjoying your jobs. It really comes down to that too, right? Like, obviously we're working with contact center agents in our platform. Like, contact center agents don't want to answer gate code questions all day, every day, 365, 24/7. Like, they're there, they want to solve some problems. And take that stuff off their desk and let them go close the sale, because closing a sale is fun and has that high emotional, piece of the puzzle to it.
What I really like about it is, just having those things out there, having avenues that the customer can select. So if we have people who are of an older generation, like Megan, who wants to, call, visit the store.
Thank you guys for laughing at that obvious joke. I appreciate that.
He looks great for 68.
He's got a lot more gray in his beard. I'm just saying.
It's my Santa filter. What are you talking about? I have a Santa filter on. I don't know what you're talking about.
He told somebody I was 68 and she told me happy birthday. And I was like, answer.
Guys, that was the best day of my life. Nothing has compared to that day. So I think it's important to have avenues that customers can select. So, we have one generation who prefers one thing. Then you have another generation who prefers another. I myself have had generation reassignment surgery, so I'm more of a Gen Z. So I like to be, able to chat with someone, and I'm okay if that takes 5 or 6 minutes because I'm doing something else. I'm updating my Instagram and my Facebook status like the kids do, and I'm doing it at the same time. I could do that stuff. So just having those avenues and platforms that people can do, and then adding the color of tech on top of that stuff is awesome.
And then watching people use it. So we've gone to stores and there's, variety of tech, right? From locks to kiosks to QR codes to, people in signage, and we'll go and watch people use it and see their issue and talk to them and try to use it ourselves. And more than once we're standing there and it's a unmanned property. We have everything. And, somebody walks up and they're just like, what do I do? And they can't get there. So we'll try different things.
That's awesome. It's a funny point because it's like the last probably 2 or 3 years specifically, we've seen that movement from the traditional manned or unmanned, and now it's more of like this hybrid model that everyone's trying to adopt. And we talk about all the things that technology is helping with. I'm curious from your standpoint, since you do get a breadth of all these different types of styles under your portfolio. Have you seen any challenges that come from the technology, or even your managers trying to adopt it and in the right way, et cetera? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'll let Megan comment after this, but so we're just good, clean fans of tech that works and it's very simple to use. So, we look at project management boards, right? They're the gambit of stuff. Some stuff are really incredibly complicated. Some things are just really, really easy, sometimes too easy. So we always like to look at stuff and call it the Fred factor. So one of our locations, we had a great manager. He was like the nicest guy in the world. Every time I saw him, I wanted to give him a hug. And he would find news articles out of storage units and send me pictures of them and stuff like that. Nicest guy in the world. But Fred, the only thing Fred could do was tell you what color of a computer he had. So that's it. That's all he could do. So everything that we had to do, build or whatever, had to fall into the Fred factor. So if Fred could use it, or if we could easily explain to Fred how to use it, it would work. Because if it worked from him, it's going to work for people who are, more technologically advanced. And so all that stuff has to follow the Fred factor for us. And, we have more employees that are, as we grow, that are going to fall into that Fred factor as well.
I have a co-founder like that. We call it the Rodolfo factor.
I was about to say, call it out myself. I'm like, if anything that we've shipped can pass the Rodolfo factor, we're good. And I say that all the time.
When I use Work Perfect, if it doesn't transfer over, guys.
We've also built in a lot of hoops into our hiring. So from boots on the ground people to managers to corporate side, there's certain things they have to do to even get an interview. Like the link isn't clickable. They have to copy and paste it. That weeds out 30% of applicants. They have to schedule their own Calendly meeting. They have to watch a video and send us back a video now. I'm hiring for an HR position. I had 250 applicants. I sent it to maybe 50. I got 4 videos back, actually 8 forms. 2 didn't even do the video. I'm not going to even hit. So I can sort of see their vibe, a little bit before I even interview them. I have 3 interviews. So it's perfect. We found that gives us the applicants that will fit the things that we already have in place. much, much, much better. And then, testing it, trying it, make sure we try to just pick dumb, easy things that work all the time. Rick's really good at just making things simple. It's hard to make something it's easy to find the mistakes and make it complicated. It's really hard to make it simple and still work.
I legit thought you were going to say that Rick is really good at being dumb. I legitimately thought that was going to come out of your mouth.
It was a compliment.
Yeah, no, I thought that was going to come out of your mouth right there.
So we'll send things and then people misunderstand them and try them. And we have a saying that we say we invest in we rent our employees, we invest in our systems, and we really try to kind of hold that mindset. So every paycheck we send people, we're just renting them. So I don't want to teach, my employee a whole bunch of things. I want to put it into the system that they're going to use, because if they leave and when they leave and whatever, they don't take that knowledge with them. It stays in our company in the system. So that's part of the challenge of kind of flying the plane while you're building it as you grow a company, of, keeping everything up to date, but then going back, building your systems, building your processes, making them simpler and simpler and simpler. If not, you end up with all these band-aids of a company that's been around for 10 years and it's just cobbled together and it doesn't make any sense. So that's a struggle that we have. And that translates to employees, customers, staff, sites, investors, like everything we do, we try to really keep that mindset.
Also, thanks for not calling me dumb.
It's two sides to the same coin, Rick. She was complimenting you, but you flip it over.
It's always a little backhanded.
It's a real thin coin, guys. It's
I want to watch a comedy show with you two on it.
So I can't tell you.
We take road trips with us.
we want to do a podcast and just like mic us up as we do road trips, because we do ridiculously long road trips, and we're gonna call it like shit we say or something like that, and then just give it to our marketing people. And then can we talk about the most random, funniest things in the entire world? And
it's gonna be what the hell was that? Is the name of the podcast, and we have to disguise our voices.
That would crush it on TikTok. So there you
go,
Rick.
Right?
There you go.
It's super. Yeah, it's
TikTok.
pretty ridiculous.
Yep, I got that on my phone.
You got that?
You do.
Thank God our marketing people are young.
Yeah, we've talked about this in other episodes. I'm not the biggest TikTok person in general, so it's kind of over my head.
Yeah.
Just ask Rick for tips if you need it. He has them all. He's ready.
I do the dance moves that are current. Whatever you need, I got you.
This should have been a video podcast. That's all I'm saying. I'm curious to kind of get back into it. You're talking about hiring and stuff like that. Like, what is like a underrated skill for scaling in the self-storage industry? Like, are you guys looking for something specific? Is that role specific across the organization? Like, just kind of looking to explore some like hard, soft skills that maybe are essential for the growth of the business in general.
Yes.
I'll go and say that common sense is huge. However, how do you quantify common sense? That is
they know how to copy and paste a link from a job post, right?
That's
so a lot of exactly. So when we do that, and it's not a hyperlink, I'll look at the feedback that people will message me, and they'll say things like, "The link isn't clickable." I'll get like 10 of those. I'll get things that say like, "Hey, I'm your guy," or when can I schedule my appointment? Literally everything other than what I want them to do. So there's just those things. We ask another question, without knowing our policy. If the customer has an issue with a lock, what would you do? Obviously, the answer is some sort of customer service. My favorite one is I would tell the woman to calm down. So obviously that guy lives with his mom and is not married. And then, you just get the variety of stuff. And just by having those things in there, like Megan said, sending the request, you have to, do that, do a couple of those things. You just find those people who have a little bit more common sense than anything. Everything else can be taught, but it just seems like, having that ability to take a problem from here to, point A to point C without involving you into point B is a difficult skill to teach, and to do it the right way, how we want you to do it, and in a good manner.
It's so good. I have one of my favorite interview questions. This more specifically for like our engineering team and stuff is, but it always throws them off. And the first one is like I ask, how do you fit an elephant into a fridge? And it just like totally throws them off. And right, like it's very much like this common sense style thing where it's like, I'm actually not asking you to solve the problem. I'm asking you to be curious and understand the scope of the problem. And so all I want you to do is ask me a question back. Like, is it a real elephant? How big is the fridge? Why are we putting an elephant into a fridge? It's like all of those things are the right answer. And so many engineers immediately just sit there and go, I'm going to cut it up and put it into the fridge. It's like, I didn't like, why are we let's kill the raccoon and not the elephant this go around, right?
My first thing was like machete or chainsaw. That was like my first. So I would not be a very good engineer.
What's available? Yeah,
maybe more of a mask murderer. I think not an engineer. Yeah.
Continue in the go on, Rodolfo.
I was just kind of I'm curious, kind of moving to like a little bit of trends, because you guys both have owned facilities now. You're operating at a larger scale. What are some unexplored areas or just trends in general in storage that you find particularly exciting over the next few years?
I really think the next little while, the focus that people are going to be having difficulty is in their marketing and having that stuff on point. I think that's going to be hard, and I think it's going to get easier as technology advances with AI, and the changes in that stuff is so quick and so instantaneous. Using I used AI for a long time to write my Google My Business profiles until they said that's not good. All of a sudden, on Tuesday, you can't do that. We'll penalize you. So then you had to go back and change all that stuff. Well, it's only a matter of time before the next thing catches up to the next thing. And then you just got to stay on top of that stuff. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing as that it grows a little bit more and just becomes more hyper competitive.
I'm really excited for some of the software advancements finally. Like apartments got it forever, retail for like I feel like storage is finally matured as an industry to get the attention of the people who could create the tools we need. Rick and I have felt we are not engineers, so we have band-aided together different things that we need to make our life easier, which has been hard. It seems like finally we're getting software. The software companies are getting more advanced. The more options we have, the more we can explore how to push them to the limit. So everything from customer communication, like you run an Airbnb and you get really cool instructions with videos and pictures of exactly where to go. You just can't quite do that in storage. We just don't have the tools. So that's what I'm excited about. People actually noticing the industry, coming into the industry, pushing it forward, and then giving us what we need so we don't have to try to go create something that we have no business creating, so we don't know what we're doing. And then we can bring that into our systems and make everything better, the customer experience, our operations, our employees, just push all of it.
Scratch what I just said, and I just ditto Megan.
Yeah, I really think the we're at like this really amazing inflection point in the self-storage industry because traditionally it's been this laggard industry where we relied on people driving by a sign, coming into a facility, and then you've got like legacy facility operation software in order to book the lease, and maybe you're even printing the lease out and scanning it back into the system and whatnot. And you're seeing, to a point that Rodolfo made, to a point that Megan you just made, is like there's so much innovation happening in the space right now. There's so much innovation happening all over in general, but specifically self-storage has, I think, started to transition from like a laggard industry to like a leading industry in a lot of ways. And I think in like 2 to 3 years, industries like rental cars, car washes, et cetera, they're going to be looking to what we're doing in self-storage and going like, holy crap, they're going to have that same feeling of like, holy crap, how do I get those players, those software vendors to come and build something for us too? And it's just a really exciting point in time to be a software vendor, to be able to work with operators like you guys who are always thinking out of the box every time you're traveling on y'all's long road trips, recording podcasts that we're going to listen to in the future. It's like the ideas come, and like you guys get to give that to us, and we get to distill that and go, man, how do we go build something really cool that's going to scale across, not just hundreds of facilities, but thousands of facilities, US and abroad.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I see.
absolutely.
And I see the divide just getting bigger and bigger. Rick and I first got into the industry as managers behind the desk. That was kind of our first job. So we've done that job, and there's still a lot of people who operate that way. And I think you're just going to see that separation. You see it in management companies, you see it in operators, you see it in private equity of the people who are doing it and the people who are not. And that ship is hard to turn. We've made some moves, 2 and 3 years ago when we were smaller that I'm really grateful we did today, because it would be really hard to turn. But I think you're going to start. You saw it with the first wave of private equity coming and buy up these underperforming value add, and then I think the site, the way it looked, was kind of the first low hanging fruit, right? We throw some lipstick, we make it better, we paint it, it looks better. I think the technology piece is going to kind of become that next big low hanging fruit, where it's like they're not even using these basic things. And then that's going to kind of be the people who either get bought, sold, choose management, implement on their own, however that looks.
I want to go back to like some like actual strategic, like how do you guys are thinking about building the business? Rick's getting on a plane going up to New York because you guys have this huge presence in New York in the early days. Like, like when you guys think about market expansion, like how are you guys thinking about where to go and place your bets at in the market across the country?
Yeah. So, for us, for the company, we've kind of just naturally organically grown in different places. We have a large presence in the South and the East. That's the reason why I'm a Southern gentleman now and living in the South. But it's been interesting to see how that expansion has just kind of naturally played itself out. We've been able to position district managers around areas to make things a little bit more feasible. Multiple ones in Texas, kind of more key areas. With that kind of area, I guess we kind of do district managers in kind of a hub and spoke model. I mean, we pay for travel. That's something we've always have been felt really strong about. It's not the owner's fault that I don't live in upstate New York. So whenever we flew up there, it was on our dime. It's the same thing how it is now. So our DMs will get on a plane and go wherever they need to go, and that's our expense, not the owner's expense. And that's something we've always felt really strong about as we've grown. And it gets expensive, but it's just something that's super important that we felt was how we should operate.
Yeah. Rick and I like to speak. So we always speak. We, all of our growth honestly has been word of mouth up until this point. It's been speaking, and people know us and recommend us, and our clients growing. So we've not done hardly any marketing in our entire company. We finally have a marketing department, and that's new here. So they're creating a lot of content for us. I'm a huge fan of educational marketing. So not,
It's a small
hey,
flex.
do you need a Rick has done it all. I've done nothing. It's so nice to have people do this for us. It was a big flex. No, so we're big fans of educational marketing, right? And educational content, and putting out podcasts and putting out, articles and blogs, and helping people understand things and teaching them how to look at something, how we look at things. Just kind of opening the playbook and saying, this is what we do and why we do it. And if people can find some value in that, that's huge for us. So we are not strategic with how we grow. We like, to work with good people. We like properties that we feel like we can improve upon. We tend to take some that just really need a lot of hard work and roll up your sleeves work, but that's sort of the nature of it. So it's not necessarily targeted like, hey, we want to grow in Texas, let's just really dump into that market. It's more of, here's the education and the information, and who can find value in that.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, so one time I was bored out of my mind in church, like just sitting there, like, typically I am every Sunday, scrolling through Facebook, and I see something on Atomic. I'm like, what the hell is, I didn't say hell because I'm in church, but I'm like, what the heck is this? Say hell afterwards. And it was like some marketing stuff that I had no idea about. I'm like, that's my company. And they're like, that's pretty cool. I had nothing to do with this thing.
I love that. I'm curious to get your positions because it seems like I know Rick, you definitely have an opinion, but I want to hear from both of you. Uh, what hill are you willing to die on when it comes to just self storage operations?
Oh shit. Which one? There's a lot of hills, man.
You got to choose
The
one.
hills are alive with a lot of. There's a lot on those. I'll let Megan go first.
I can't think of anything. You could talk me into almost anything. It's a terrible and good trade. I don't know.
So I have a lot of things. So I will start on one thing, and it will be like the biggest thing that I have going on in my life. Like I will abandon everything and be like, hell or high water, this is not going to happen. And then Megan comes in, and she's more the voice of reason, and she's like, Rick, now let's talk about this. I'm like, no, this is how it's going to be. And she'll let me like huff and puff for a second and whatever. And then she was like, hey, but look at this. I'm like, okay. So then eventually it kind of gets down back to a reasonable point, and then we can have a conversation. Unless it is Bird Eye, who is my arch nemesis in the entire world. So other than that, everyone else is good.
I am behind him. If you want a reputation management software, don't pick that one. 1,000%.
We're so glad that you just said that.
Yep.
Me
too. I'll say it again.
Advertisement. Got it.
Yeah.
Link it in the notes.
Arch nemesis. Which, by the way, it's very ironic that they are a reputation management company that you cannot leave a review on. Ooh. That is ironic because trust me, I looked that up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Got him.
Oh my gosh.
I also checked our contract to make sure there wasn't a disparagement clause too. So.
We're just giving our opinion right now.
Sued for defamation.
I will say, as we make decisions, so a lot of hills you die on, right, is like decisions, how you make them, how your staff makes them, how your team makes them, whose side do you pick? Because sometimes they're very much in conflict of do we charge the customer? Do we not? Do we accommodate for our customer? Do we not? So Rick and I are always very aligned on things, which makes it really easy to run a business. So if we mess up, we'll, pay back things we've messed up on. We want the customer, the store customer, to get the benefit of the doubt in situations. We want to try to just not hold hard lines in a lot of situations. We want to try to be accommodating of like, what's the most common sense, reasonable thing that we can do here to make everyone at least medium happy, right? Like you don't have to be thrilled, but you kind of have to be, okay, I'm gonna walk away from this situation. So we do try to do that and implement that in our staff.
Other than
when it comes to Bird Eye.
Except for Bird Eye.
This is awesome. We really are grateful for you guys like jumping in and letting us kind of get behind the scenes of how you guys are thinking about stuff. I've got like one little exercise to do as we're wrapping up here. It's kind of a rapid fire. I'm going to throw out kind of a topic.
What are we going to put in the refrigerator?
Yeah, exactly. Or, just a topic or like a system of technology in self-storage that we're seeing or people utilize all the time. And I just want you guys to kind of rank this on a level of like 1 being the least important, 5 being the most important in general. And there's more than 5. So obviously you can pick those numbers over time. Project management.
7. Just kidding.
Breaking the rules already. I like it.
5.
Nice. Data analytics systems, reporting systems.
5. They can all be 5.
Of course, you're going to say that, Megan.
I'm gonna count it. Yes.
Yeah. Energy efficiency in a building. So LED lighting, solar panels, smart thermostats.
2.
Yeah.
Security and monitoring, surveillance cameras, motion sensors, smart locks.
3.5.
Nice. Drones.
Can we do negative numbers?
Yes.
All right, like -5.
All right, nice. Your facility management system.
5.
Your website.
5.
And
mobile app.
5. Our mobile apps like like 1.
Nice. Anything that I'm missing on that list that you guys think should like just be ranked? It's just a fun thing to kind of throw out at the end of like, hey, how important are these techs?
Kiosks.
Reputation management software.
Management software.
The right one.
Yeah.
Where do kiosks fall on this?
1. Yeah, or 1 or 0.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they're down there.
Do I have one? How about like video chat? Just in general.
Me personally, I would puld it like at a 2. I think it just depends on the salesperson you talk with.
That's awesome. This has been a lot of fun, guys. But definitely the episode with the most laughs in it, and so I appreciate that. We're gonna have to.
That was awesome.
been holding out on you.
That was the best. I wish I could have that and walk that around with me.
We're gonna have to invite you guys back.
When I make a joke and nobody laughs. That's
I feel like Jim Cramer now, just like hitting buttons, like sell it.
Nice. We're gonna have to have you guys back in a couple of months after we get up and running, and have some feedback live for everybody. We'll do like one of our like analytics sessions and record it as a podcast episode or something. But really excited to get a chance to work with you guys. This was super awesome to dig in, and just grateful for your time.
Before we wrap, thanks again. Anything you guys want to shout out? Where can people find you? Anything exciting that you guys have in the horizon?
Hook us up, atomicstoragegroup.com. Please like and follow us on LinkedIn. We're super active on that and love growing that following. And
we don't have a TikTok yet, so just LinkedIn and website.
Yeah, no TikTok. Yeah, just LinkedIn would be fantastic.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
As always, thanks for listening. You can find out more information about this episode and more at selfstoragelab.com.